Welcome everyone to Curdis the Nerdis, the show where I, Curdis the Nerdis, nerd out about the MLB standings and Major League Baseball. Now, I am the new senior MLB analyst for the Chip Productions. So tune in and hope you all have a good time. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And let's get on with the show. So today we're looking at all of the young stars that are tearing up the MLB in both good ways and bad ways. Now I'm going to ask for a little help on this one. I cannot remember his name. Titus, what is the catcher from the Dodgers' name?
Dalton Rushing.
Oh yeah, Dalton Rushing. So he's the first guy we're going to be looking at. And Dalton Rushing has been absolutely destroying the MLB in bad ways. Now, the Dodgers, who are the best team in the MLB right now, and they have won the World Series in the last 2 years straight, beating the Toronto Blue Jays and the New York Yankees. Sorry, Yankees and Blue Jays fans, but yeah, they kind of got rocked in the World Series. But now they're still on top of the league, but their ace, Shohei Ohtani, is having some trouble on the mound when their new catcher, Dalton Rushing, is catching instead of Will Smith. Now, Dalton is pretty much splitting reps with Will Smith, but Will Smith knows Ohtani better, knows all the pitching staff better. But Dalton Rushing has had many appearances at the bats when he has gone 0 for 4 and 1 for 4, things like that. He has not had great batting this entire season at all, and a lot of people are starting to think that he might be a net negative to the team. Now, having a bad batting average or a bad hits per game ratio isn't a terrible thing for a rookie to have. There are many other players like Travis Bazzana who are doing other things like that, who we'll talk about later. But right now, the biggest issue about him that everyone, all the MLB analysts, everyone's talking about, including myself, Curdis the Nerdis, they've all been talking about how he has been absolutely terrible in the dugout and catching behind the plate. He's absolutely been terrible to Shohei Ohtani. When Shohei Ohtani, the biggest problem has came when he was wanting to challenge pitches. Now, Shohei Ohtani's a great pitcher, and he knows the zone very well. But normally, when you're ABS challenging a pitch, and you're on the defense, the pitcher will ask the catcher, hold on, take a look at that, what do you think? Because catchers tend to be more accurate than the pitchers. But Dalton Rushing has been multiple times telling Ohtani it's a terrible idea to challenge a call when really he's been right. So what actually happened last time was Ohtani was wanting to challenge a pitch that was thrown, and he was absolutely sure that was in the zone. He was about to challenge. Then he almost tapped his head, put his arm up right by his head, and Dalton Rushing was like, no, don't challenge the call. Now, the announcers later said that would have been a strike. They looked back at the little, the ABS thing they had in their booth. So what we really saw from that is that Ohtani was just absolutely right there, and he knew the strike zone better than Dalton Rushing. Then later that game, it happened again. Dalton Rushing said, no, don't challenge. He didn't challenge. The next game in the same series, Ohtani wants to challenge so badly. And he asks to challenge. Dalton Rushing's like, no, don't challenge. And Shohei Ohtani very exclaimingly and mockingly taps his head like the hardest he possibly can. And he gets the call right, to Dalton Rushing's dismay, but also his happiness because he got the strikeout. But the odd thing is that the catchers are normally the better ones, and Ohtani has been a lot better. And recently, Ohtani has accidentally crossed up Dalton Rushing. It's actually not known if it was intentional or accidentally, but he threw a pitch that Dalton Rushing was not expecting, because Dalton Rushing was calling many pitches that were just terrible ideas, and they were getting lots of hits and home runs off of those pitches. Then Ohtani decided he's going to start calling his own pitches, shaking off Rushing, and just throwing whatever he wants to throw. Then he throws 3 straight innings with 4 strikeouts over a 3-inning margin. So he had an absolutely great day when he was calling his signs, or when Will Smith was calling his pitches. But when Dalton Rushing calls pitches, he throws terribly. I believe he has a 1.43 ERA on the year. He's looking for a Cy Young this year. But whenever Dalton Rushing is catching, he has almost 2 ERA higher than he does normally when someone else like Will Smith is catching. Dalton Rushing seems to be much of a net liability, especially when Shohei Ohtani is on the mound. And another problem with Dalton Rushing has come not only at the bats, not only behind the plate, but in the dugout. Now, lots of MLB scouts don't look for just talent, but they look for a good guy that can hold the dugout together. And in Dalton Rushing's case, he's not very good. He's a buns catcher. He can't even call a stupid pitch well. And he's trash in the dugout, too. He's been smashing his bats all over the place, going back after a strikeout, breaking his bat on his knee just because he's absolutely crashing out because he's buns. Like, honestly, relatable, but, like, come on, lock in, dude. You're being a little bit of a jerk and a wimp here. Like, you're playing in the Major League Baseball, so just, like, play your game, my guy. Come on. And he's going in there, and he's just absolutely tweaking out. Like, he's the best guy, and he's just doing terrible. And after he did that and struck out, and then Ohtani crossed him up and everything, he got all mad at Ohtani. And then their manager and Freddie Freeman came over and had a chat with him that next inning while they were on offense, and he was sitting in the dugout. Then he came out later, and I believe he might have actually been subbed out for Will Smith behind the plate. So he's not been doing good for the Dodgers recently. Ohtani's been worse. All the pitchers have essentially been worse. And he's basically been almost sort of a free out, like you see in a lot of Little League games. They've got this little guy who's just buns. He's just not that good. It's really bad for the Dodgers. And then the next thing is that Jazz Chisholm Jr. is going absolutely insane. He's actually having a great year, breaking Major League Baseball in great ways. The most recent news we've seen from him was he was playing second base and batting with a blow pop in his mouth, a little lollipop, a little sucker. And lots of fans are being like, oh my goodness, our starting second baseman is playing with a sucker in his mouth. We're not in Little League. Straighten up and fly right, buddy. Then, later, after he sees all the social media, because he's a young star, so of course he's looking at social media all the time, trying to see everything about Jazz Chisholm Jr. himself. And he sees that everyone's talking about the blow pop. And after the game, he says he was trying to bite through the blow pop, but at that point, the cameras had already seen him. He was just going to take his at-bat with it and play second base with the blow pop in. Then, the next game, he takes it out. His own manager, actually, in between games, said that it was childish and not something he wants people doing to represent the Yankees franchise. They're a very strong team. They don't want to appear as a franchise with this young player that's just cocky, but thinks he's too good, just able to play with a sucker in his mouth. But the next game, in the 9th inning, he hits a walk-off home run, goes into the dugout, grabs his bucket of blow pops, points at it with the camera on him. Many people criticize that. Honestly, I think that's pretty tough. I mean, I don't know what's all tough in the world right now because I'm kind of a nerd. I'm not really tough myself, but I think that's pretty cool, honestly. But everyone else, all the old guys have been flaming him just because he's just like trying to show up his manager, which is honestly, that's kind of real. Like, you can't be doing stuff like that to your manager. He tells you not to play with the blow pop in your mouth. Don't be like, oh yeah, I don't care. I can hit home runs and hit walk-offs and make our team win even with a blow pop in my mouth. I'm that guy. Manager, you don't know what's going on. That's just something that really they haven't been liking about him. But he's still been playing great this season, so they don't really have much to say against him. Now moving on to our third and final star that's been doing well. Actually, maybe not doing well right now, but his name is Travis Bazzana. Now, we started off the year very well. He got called up, and he was batting like .422 for a while, I believe. Obviously, he was playing for a bit. But now, he is absolutely playing terrible. He's gone 0 for 4, many times in multiple games. 1 for 4, 2 for 3 in a couple games, but not that many games. And a lot of times they've lost. And in the last game, he made multiple errors. He's been making a lot of errors. He used to be good, but now he's a lot worse. So thanks for watching Curdis the Nerdis. I'll see you guys on the other side. I'm your senior MLB analyst from Chip Productions. See ya.